they advertised one match by crashing a car into one of the wrestlers. Not a total victory of Russia, which now we're seeing. He goes on.
Gigantic bag of flaccid dicks. Sorry, continue.
Which, when you open them up, you find out that they're all cockroaches inside.
Yeah. I don't know if anybody else is ever going to laugh this hard at anything we say.
We can actually both look out my window right now and see some very pretty yellow flowers that I'm going to be eradicating. This is a Geek History of Time,
where we connect nerdery to the real world. I'm Ed Blaylock. I'm a world history teacher at the 7th grade level here in Northern California and the father of a 21-month-old son who just recently at a Scottish Games selected the sword that he's going to be using as his toy weapon for some time now. We gave him an option. We held two of them out in front of him. One of them was a replica of Sting in wood, actually a really very pretty one. And the other one was a much more simple, actually looks like a waster, training kind of weapon. And that's the one he chose, which made his fencer daddy very, very happy. How about you?
Well, I just have a question about the swords that you held up for him.
Yeah.
Was it Sting from Dune, or is it Sting from the WCW?
I will kill him. No, good. Yeah, I cut you off there before you finished. No, neither of those.
Oh, okay.
No. It was Sting from Lord of the Rings.
Oh, okay.
Glows blue when orcs are near.
Yeah.
Or since this was a Scottish fair, Sassenach, Englishman.
Oh, okay.
But he decided against that one, and again went with the waster.
Nice.
So,
well, I'm Damian Harmony. I am a Latin teacher, part-time history teacher up here in Northern California. I am the father of a 7 and a 9-year-old, both of whom have gotten into Mouse Guard quite a bit.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
How is that going?
It's going well. I love it because the advancement, what do we call it?
Mechanic
requires that you fail at the skill a number of times.
Really?
-1 that you have ranks in that skill, which means you have to go out on a limb and fail at doing the thing. You can't just be good at it.
Wow. That's deep.
Yes.
And your daughter must be having a tough time with that.
She's the world's shittiest Pathfinder. But she's filled up the failure marks on it. Now she has to succeed 4 times.
Okay.
And so that'll be sometime by 2026.
Okay.
So... and it's a success fail dice, 4, 5, 6 are successes.
Okay.
6 could be explodey if you want to spend points on it.
Okay.
So it's kind of a cool dynamic.
All right.
I don't think I'm doing the best job at it, but I'm keeping it gussied up because I've never played it as a player, so I do much better when I've played as a player.
Yeah.
But
understood.
But it's fun. It's a lot of fun.
No, it sounds like it.
And I'm hoping to get them into a Marvel role-playing game and then a Star Wars role-playing game.
Okay.
By December.
I can totally support getting them into a Star Wars role-playing game.
Yes.
I don't know if anybody has managed to generate a Marvel-based role-playing game that is not a steaming pile of trash.
True, but we are talking 7 and 9-year-olds, so...
True.
Yeah.
True,
I also thought about dusting off the old Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles role-playing game, because they love them to TMNT.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
All right, well... See, I got a soft spot in my heart for anything by Palladium. I have learned enough in doing some research on the industry.
Mm-hmm.
I've learned enough that it's not a great company to work for, apparently, and we can get into that in another episode. But it was a formative part of my adolescence, and so I can get behind that too.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Cool.
So very cool.
Yeah.
What are you reading right now?
I am reading a book it's an autobiography. It's called Preston Sturges by Preston Sturges.
Okay.
He was a very, very famous director in the 1930s and 40s of comedies.
I recognize the name, but I can't contextualize it.
So I'm going to give you some of his most famous stuff. The Great McGinty.
Okay.
The Miracle of Morgan's Creek.
Okay.
Let's see what else. Unfaithfully Yours.
Oh, okay.
He wrote on those.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of other ones that he directed. Hail the Conquering Hero.
Okay.
No, he wrote that one too. I'm looking for his
directorial credits.
Yeah, he really did a lot of writing though. Tons of writing. Remember the Night, Never Say Die, College Swing, Easy Living, Hotel Haywire.
Okay.
Yeah, Next Time We Love. Yeah, lots and lots.
All right.
Of
So,
stuff.
how many of these would be considered screwball comedies?
You know, honestly, not that many.
Really?
Interestingly enough.
Okay.
Yeah. He did other kinds of comedies, which is, I think, why he survived through the 40s as far as his career goes.
All right.
Cool. But his career is fascinating, and it touches on most things, and it really gives you a good context for what's going on in the studio system in the 1940s.
Oh, okay.
Because it's still somewhat nascent. It's only about a generation removed from its own creation.
Yeah.
But yeah, what are you reading?
Well, right now I'm reading an awful lot of student work.
Oh.
Because it's end of a grading period, and so I don't really have a lot of time to read for myself.
Sure.
But I will recommend The Plantagenets by Dan Jones.
Okay.
It's a very readable, very well put together history of the Plantagenet dynasty. It starts, of course, with Henry II.
Okay.
And goes all the way up through to the end of the Wars of the Roses. Covers the whole from the beginning of the dynasty to the point at which the Tudor dynasty begins, which is a branch of the Plantagenets, but it winds up becoming they wind up becoming their own thing.
House. Yeah.
And it's a like I said, it's a very, very well written, very easy to read.
Nice.
Without losing any rigor.
Okay.
Historically speaking.
Sure.
But just generally a really great book.
Nice.
And a good train read.
Cool.
So.
Well, last time we were talking about screwball comedies.
Yes.
And I got us up to the roasting of Hell's A-Poppin'.
Yes.
And the fact that soldiers were reporting to entertainment reporters for a trade publication that y'all need to simmer down.
They'd really appreciate it if you didn't blow it out on New Year's Eve this year.
Right. Yeah, pretty much.
Which still just seems weird to me. I mean, anyway.
Yeah.
I'm having, I don't know.
And it could be,
it
soldiers,
could be generational. It could be circumstantial. I don't know. But
could be that they talked to the communications officer whose job was to liaise with the press.
Yeah, okay. That makes some sense.
There's a few things.
Yeah. All right, yeah.
So the fact that screwball comedies are declining drastically during the war kind of points to the probability that everyone else is catching on to the same sentiment about comedies dealing with sexual frustration.
Okay.
So sexual frustration is no longer as attractive. So between Hell's A-Poppin' and Lady in a Jam was about a year. Okay. It took from December to September in New York to review 2 screwball comedies at all.
Wow, really?
Yeah. Whereas the previous
just one didn't get put out.
No, they just didn't get reviewed.
Interesting. So
there was a much larger sample the year before.
Oh wow! All right.
Yeah. Now, yes, there were fewer. Fewer, but not only 2.
Yeah. Okay.
So.
But the critic just didn't even bother reviewing the rest of them because who cares?
Yeah, there was a glut in the market of war movies, westerns, stuff like that.
Okay.
By 1942, the movie industry had moved sharply toward war movies, like I said.
Yeah.
On October 7th, 1942, Variety reported in its headlines that approximately 33% of all films in the past 6 months were made with a war angle.
Okay.
That's a lot. That's the lion's share. That's a third.
That's certainly a plurality. That's the largest percentage, largest chunk. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right. 1 in 3.
Yeah. Now,
and then all of the other genres are fighting for the other 2 spots out of every 3 films.
Right.
Okay, because you say 33%.
Doesn't sound like much.
And it doesn't sound like a really big percentage, but then you realize that no. Then you've got horror movies, you've got romances, you've got any kind of parlor drama,
right.
mysteries,
farces,
westerns,
comedies.
farces, any kind of comedy.
Yeah.
All of those
Yeah.
are fighting over
The other two.
the other 2 out of 3.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. It's dominant, which makes sense. We're at war.
Do you know what the second biggest percentage was?
No.
Or like what the genre in number 2 position?
Don't, but I would hazard a guess that westerns would be the next highest plurality.
That was going to be my
because
my
macho.
Guess. Well, because themes of self-reliance and self-sacrifice, the heroic figure, coming in to save the day.
Yep.
Standing up against the forces of corruption and evil.
Yeah.
That whole frontier mentality kind of thing.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
So through the end of November, these kinds of headlines are prevalent in Variety, the trade pub, right?
Yeah.
Which is, again, I got to point out, it's a trade publication, so it's largely for and about the Hollywood community.
Yeah.
Others include here's
it's Inside Baseball.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's 70 or 80 pages per issue. I mean,
okay.
Oh my God, the scrolling that I did. So. So for instance, here's some other headlines. DC would like Army film pronto, and war-themed picks increase.
Okay.
It's ascendant. War movies are gaining popularity. Movies like Wake Island Across the Pacific are heavily advertised at this point. Okay. They get in the big full page ads or quarter page ad.
Yeah.
When the Boogeyman Will Get You debuts in October of 42. And only the New York Times understood what When the Boogeyman Will Get You is trying to do.
Okay.
It saw it as an attempt to meld screwball comedy into yet another setting, horror comedy.
Yeah, I was going to say, that sounds okay.
It didn't flatter the idea, though. They saw what they were trying to do.
Okay. And, this doesn't work.
A Variety reviewer commented positively on the film, describing it as screwball comedy and offering hearty laughs. But that was it. Like remember the previous paragraphs of stuff from the last episode. There's another movie called The Palm Beach Story. It opened to really bad reviews. The New York Times is reflecting about a year's worth of wartime anxiety at this point and priorities, and they barely even reviewed the movie.
Okay.
This guy named Bosley Crowther is kind of the reviewer at the time. He criticizes
Roger Ebert of the day.
Yeah. Yeah, okay. And he's doing it for New York, not for Chicago.
Or Gene Siskel.
Yeah. Okay. And he criticizes the movie's director, whose name is Preston Sturges.
Uh-huh.
So yes, he did touch on that.
Yeah.
But it wasn't. See, it wasn't the most successful of the genre. He got on him for trying to both be writer and director, which at that time was taboo.
Really?
Yes.
Because it was seen as being kind of self-important, egotistical.
Yeah.
You wrote this thing, so nobody you're not going to hand it off to somebody else to direct. You've got to be the one to direct it because
it's so shitty that you're the only one.
You're the only one willing to sit down and okay, all right.
He says, as it is, Mr. Sturgis's right hand, I'm using air quotes there, has let his somewhat more deft one down.
Wow.
Yeah. Now that's clever writing, number one.
Yeah.
Good pun.
Yeah.
Man. And at this time, at least 50% of the country only had an 8th grade education.
Oh, wow.
And this is what's being written in the papers.
Yeah, good point.
Okay?
All right.
His fiction at the time is much too barren of bright surprises for a bold directorial splurge. And as a consequence, the Palm Beach Story never really becomes the romp it aims to be. Except for some helter-skelter moments, it is generally slow and garrulous. Perhaps Mr. Sturges was trying to see how thin he could slice it and still get by.
Wow.
Perhaps he was making an experiment in conversational comedy. Anyhow, he's short on action and very long on trivial talk in this mildly satiric little fable.
Whoa.
Sounds like somebody reviewing Reservoir Dogs, quite honestly.
Sounds like Bill Murray to Chevy Chase.
Yeah.
Medium talent. Like, boy, you want to cut somebody.
Yeah.
Even at Christmas.
It should have been a breathless comedy. It should have been a breathless comedy, but only the actors are breathless, and that's from talking too much.
Ow.
Yeah.
Ow. Okay.
Yeah.
So heaping scorn.
Yeah.
Just like, no, I'm not done smacking you yet.
Yeah.
Good God Almighty.
Yeah.
Okay, so at this point, the genre has jumped the shark. It's nobody.
Didn't get over the shark. The shark jumped up and bit the shit out of it.
Got it. Yeah. We don't want to see you. We don't serve your kind here anymore. Get out of the theater.
Pretty much.
Wow.
So what was receiving excellent?
Damn, son. Okay, yeah, you were saying.
What was getting excellent reviews at that time was action, specifically wartime action. Right?
Okay.
Advertisements for those movies were way larger than and far more frequent than the Palm Beach story ever was. Like I said, they took up the whole page. Judging by the ads alone, war movies were poised to attract more customers than a movie like Palm Beach Story, which was about a woman who leaves her husband and searches for a rich man to marry, all in the name of helping her husband. It could be a farcical, whimsical comedy.
Yeah.
Not then.
Yeah.
War movies are about honor and sacrifice and heroics, as you so carefully pointed out.
Yeah.
And newsreel footage and these got the lion's share of the advertisements. They advertised newsreel footage.
Really?
Yep.
Okay.
After the war began, the New York Times did not positively review a single screwball comedy except for one, which debuted on New Year's Eve in 1942-43. It's called Whistling Dixie.
Oh, great.
Red Skelton was in it.
Okay.
And he got most of the praise.
Yeah. Well, the Red Skelton.
Yep.
I mean, come on.
The reviewer found the movie amusing but not hilarious. The Times gave it a baffling review, perhaps in an attempt to match the baffling nature of the film.
Okay.
I once wrote a review of something in the same exact meter and style as Charge of the Light Brigade.
Okay.
It was fun.
Yeah.
I don't know that it was considered a very good review.
Yeah.
Or perhaps because they had a deadline, or maybe because the premature celebration of the New Year. I don't know.
Yeah.
But it said, there were more blows yesterday in Whistling in Dixie than Sullivan and Kilrain ever exchanged in 70-odd rounds. This is referring back to old-timey boxing.
Yeah, old-timey boxing and...
Jim L. Sullivan? That's a really old-ass boxing.
Really old-ass... But so we're supposed to take from that there's repartee back and forth.
Yes.
Okay.
As you can see...
That's like, Darmok and Jalad at Tanagra kind of...
In some ways,
kind of language, like, Shaka when the walls fell. Like, you really have to know a lot of context to understand what they're trying to say there.
Well, Timba, his arms wide.
Yeah, indeed.
Like one does.
Indeed.
But interestingly, even in the praise, it's actiony.
This is true. It's the metaphor is a combative one.
Right. The dialogue less so.
Yeah.
So it's not pitter-patter, it's blows. Whistling in Dixie is less of a screwball than it is a comedic mystery, to be honest, but it still has elements of a man out of his depth and a woman continuing to frustrate him in a romantic setting, but that's no longer front and center in the movie. That's an aspect of it, which I think is what made it acceptable.
That's a dash of flavoring in the mix.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
By the time 1943's Crazy House comes out, which isn't really even a screwball comedy, to be honest, the Battle of Guadalcanal had just ended.
Yeah.
It has been a full 2 years since Pearl Harbor.
Yep.
American and British soldiers had successfully invaded Italy.
Yes.
It was becoming increasingly obvious the Allies are going to win the war. It's not a matter of when, it's just a matter of, or it's a matter of when, not a matter of if.
Whether, not if, yeah.
Even U-boat activity had considerably slowed.
Yeah.
Allowing most American ships to get to England unmolested. But American interest would still not return to any kind of male romantic frustration as a form of comedy. Crazy House, not a screwball, still earned especially bad reviews because it did have a frustrated romantic lead.
Okay.
The movie was made by the same people who had brought Hell's a Poppin' to the big screen. So it could be the reviewer was still unforgiving of that sin.
Still biased, holding past sins against him.
Yeah. It would be like if people still didn't like Mel Gibson for being an anti-Semite instead of forgiving him for not apologizing for it.
True. true. Or, it would be like, critics continuing to hold everything against Michael Bay, like, forever.
Yeah.
Because they do.
Yeah.
And I mean, I'm not saying the man's work is, deep.
No.
But,
But it's good for what it is.
It's good for what it is, and he doesn't deserve to be crapped on the way he regularly does get by overeducated movie critics.
That's a good point.
So, this is a phenomenon we've seen, is what I'm saying. So,
yeah, absolutely. But it's also clear by the reviews that Screwball Comedies got that the flame was flickering and dying down.
Yeah.
Okay. The reviews keep getting harsher. Bosley Crowther really seems to have a hard-on against them. He stated that the reels got mixed up at the showing of Crazy House that he saw, and it didn't make a difference to the plot or the flow of the movie.
Ow.
Yeah.
Ow.
Now, truly, the appeal of the frustrated masculine effort was dying.
Oh, yeah. I mean, after that long of everybody having their father, their brother, their uncle, their boyfriend, their whoever stuck on the other side of the planet in dire straits, in circumstances where, the old saying is that infantry combat is, days and days of absolute boredom punctuated by moments of stark terror.
Yeah.
And, thinking about, having that in your mind, your son, your, whoever being in those circumstances, I can see how that would make it difficult to find humor in the admittedly frivolous but still real frustration of a sympathetic male figure. Because a big point of the whole genre is that you're sympathizing with the Apollonian, cut the butter square, dweeby, sometimes dweeby, but always very, clean cut, hard corners, male lead.
Yep.
He's the figure you're identifying with when you're watching the film, and seeing the person you're identifying with, the person you're supposed to care about, having to put up with all that stuff.
Right.
I can see how everybody's psyche would have a hard time with that. Mm-hmm. So
absolutely.
Yeah.
I have a question for you.
Yeah.
How do you butter your corn?
You put the pat of butter on the plate, and you use the
skewer holders.
And you
okay
spin it. Why?
How does your wife butter her corn, or how did she prior to meeting you? Did she do it differently?
No, actually.
Interesting.
Same way. Why?
My grandmother.
Okay.
They would slice it with the knife and use that to spread it on the corn.
Yeah.
My grandfather took the cob and just slid it right through the bar.
Oh, God. Okay.
And that became the dominant way our family did it.
Okay.
And so in both of my marriages, they were treated to that. And so
that's why you're twice divorced. I'll tell you right now. That's whatever else was going on. That right there, because that's making my eye twitch just even thinking about it right now. Oh my God!
Because then you have a little of the corn hair that's in the butter, and the butter is now U-shaped. And now you have a corn butter that you keep in the fridge for when you eat corn.
And you can't use for anything else
for no good reason.
For no good reason at all.
Yeah. And it's also got like kernel imprints in it as you went out.
Tracks. Yep. And, okay. So when I said what I said about cut the butter square, I gotta go back and I'm gonna rat on my father.
Okay.
Because my father could be the could stand in for the protagonist of any one of these screwball comedies.
Okay.
My father is an engineer personality type who became an aviator, which reinforced all of that.
Yeah.
Because there are old pilots, there are bold pilots, but there are no old, bold pilots.
Right.
You have a checklist. You go through everything on the checklist because that's how you get home in one piece.
Right.
That's, And so one of the points in my life that I will remember forever, where I've had to watch my father bite his tongue, was visiting my grandparents. Mm-hmm. And of course, I grew up, in the same house with my dad all the time.
Sure.
And just, it was, you have the butter, you cut the butter, you do what you're doing on your plate. Well, and it is a thing for my father to cut it square.
Okay.
My grandfather.
Oh no.
Was not that way.
Mm-hmm.
And I will never forget the expression on my father's face. I understood why it was kind of halfway a joke and halfway not when my dad talked about cut the butter square. When I watched my grandfather reach with the same knife he had already used to butter one piece of toast, which had crumbs on it and all that, reach out to the butter on the table, cut halfway through the stick of butter, and then pull outward. I swear to God, my father had a full body twitch. So that was my role model.
Yeah.
So what you're describing about just take the cord and all that, like, oh my God, yeah. My father's not a religious man, but he would be driven to call you a heretic. So anyway, you bring this up for a reason related to our genre, I'm sure.
I bring up the butter because you said cut the butter square.
Okay, all right.
And it just occurred to me that my grandpa was, my grandma was from a middle class background. My grandpa was from a very poor background. So and my grandpa was Apollonian in that.
Okay.
But he grew to be Apollonian, but he was very Dionysian when he met my grandma, which was probably the attraction.
Yeah.
But she was already engaged.
Oh yeah.
And he looked up every Smith in the phone book until he found her.
Holy cow.
Yeah, because he met her on the beach. And
nice. So your grandparents were kind of an inversion of this.
For starters, yes. Now, by the time I met them, it was very much they were the prototypical family of the 50s. They had 3 kids, and and he would come home and things had to be a certain way. So he'd grown into being Apollo. But yes, in those instances,
that's funny.
That's
funny.
So and he always had a sense of humor about things. He always did. He had a stroke, and so there's only one phrase I ever remember him saying pre-stroke, and it was when he came and picked me up, and I was like 4 or 5. He said, I got to eat my Wheaties. And then after that, everything I remember of him saying was with stroke voice, where it felt like his tongue was on the roof of his mouth.
Okay.
I used to imitate it very well, but it doesn't feel right to do that anymore because as I get older, I'm less of a dick.
Yeah.
But it added to the humor of the shit that he said because it took him a minute to say things. And so my grandma, Nana, at one point, she's doing this and doing that, and he had moved something over to the side, which made more sense, and she's looking for it, and he finally points to it. He says, right there. And she says, you've got me all confused, Chuck. And he just looks at me and goes, doesn't take much. And that's it's that kind of shit. And he took me on, because he had a stroke, he wasn't able to work, but then he found employment being kind of a deliveryman.
Okay.
And he made that work for a while, right? And so I would go with him on his routes on occasion. And it was really fun. I hate dropping things, and I've always hated dropping things. And we were in an elevator, and I had a thing, and I was 10, maybe 11, and I was holding something, and it wasn't quite, level.
Stable.
And a thing kept slipping. It was like a package of highlighters or something. It kept slipping off, and I'd reach down and pick it back up, and it slipped again. And as I'm putting it back on, it would slide off, and he's just laughing his ass off at me the whole time. And so he still enjoyed Dionysus.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So, but this guy. So government starts encouraging, in a major way, Hollywood to make more war movies.
Yeah.
To the exclusion of comedic romantic comedies.
Really?
Yeah. Now, it's not specifically like, don't make those, just make those. It was, make all these.
And whatever
guess
the
what's
market,
not making much money.
Yeah, whatever the market doesn't compel you to make is just going to fall off.
Exactly. Now, at this point, full-length newsreel features are flooding the theaters in 44. there's a lot of news about the war.
Yeah, well,
right?
yeah.
Advertisements for them had been in the newspapers for over a year by this point. Come and see the newsreels.
Wow.
Yeah. In the summer of 44, D-Day was one of the more popular topics for obvious reasons.
Yeah.
And so any war movie was attractive to your typical moviegoer or your typical movie maker. There were no screwball comedies in 1944.
At all.
None.
Not a one.
Not a one.
Wow.
Yeah. That's how quickly it flared out. By 45, World War II is obviously wrapping up. The main concern is not Europe, but Japan.
Yeah.
War experts projected that an invasion of the home island, as you had spoken of before,
a million.
And that the Japanese would fight every last man, woman, and child.
Yeah.
Right? So you're
Civilian
going to need
population be rising up. It'd be,
with sharp sticks. Even with Soviet help, because Stalin did agree to give assistance once the war in Europe was over, invasion would be a bloody, bloody affair. And so people are girding up for that.
Yeah.
The final screwball movie of the war comes out in May after VE Day. It's called Pillow to Post. And it was reviewed as a horrible movie by Crowther again. Now, part of this I'm going to the same source over and over again because New York Times is a very reliable source on reviewing movies.
The Gray Lady, yeah.
The San Francisco Chronicle I went to a lot, and they didn't have as many. Or it could be that they don't put all their stuff on the internet as quickly. And I didn't want to go down to look at microfiche for 80 hours.
Forever, yeah.
But, this way I'm comparing apples to apples. We can change over time because Crowther did like other screwballs.
Yeah.
But by this point, he don't. And it could be that they're terrible. It could be that he's done with it. Yeah, he had nothing flattering to say about it. He thought it was a waste of the actors' time, and that the Warner Brothers should have put more effort into not insulting the actors by having them in such a bad film.
Wow.
Yeah. He says, even though this film is taken from a modest stage play of a few seasons back, its humors are as stale and mechanical as those of the oldest such farce. And the outcome is quite as predictable as the consequence of boy meeting girl. It's just too bad that Ida Lupino, whose talents are far above such trash, had to be stuck with the necessity of trying to make something out of it.
What, he actually uses the word trash.
Yeah.
I mean, that's to us now in 2019, that's
saying shit.
We throw that around like it's not a big deal. But back then, that was that was close to the strongest language you could get away with in print.
Yeah.
Holy cow.
He continues, and it is curious that Sidney Greenstreet should be one of the tongue waggers involved. You'd think that the Warner Brothers would have more regard for these two stars and for the considerable patience of the innocent customers.
I mean, I know Sidney Greenstreet's a big name, but my God.
Yeah.
That's harsh.
Yeah.
Now, I do find it interesting that in that utter panning of the film, he maintained sympathy for the actors involved.
Yes.
And all of his scorn
is
being directed at the script.
Yeah. And the studio for even putting it out.
And the studio for even bothering to commit it to film.
Yes.
So it is. I mean, that's a sign that it really is. No, as a matter of fact, the genre
is dying. Yeah,
is done.
That's the subject of his criticism. He's not painting broad brushes.
He's very specific,
excising and then slaughtering.
Wow.
Yeah. Now, at the other end of this news break, I'll tell you more about what World War II did.
Okay.
But for right now, we need to pay for things. So
yes, we do.
Y'all stay tuned for this next ad. It's a good one.
It's a good one.
Yeah. And
it's not a wartime newsreel or anything, but we did a pretty good job on this.
We did. We really did. And also, it should stand to reason that you would want to sell things through us. So please contact us. And we will make sure to give our contact information at the end of this episode.
Yeah, geeks are standing by. Hey, Geek Nation, this is Ed.
And Damian. Hey, what you got there?
I got a copy of The Stolen by my good friend Bishop O'Connell.
He is a Norwegian wedding cake creator?
No, he is not.
Oh.
He is an urban fantasy writer, a member of the Science Fiction Writers of America.
Oh, wow. So
Yeah.
that looks like it says 1 of 3.
Yes, well, it's the first volume of an American fairy tale. The other 2 volumes are The Forgotten and The Returned.
Nice. What's it's a fairy tale. Does that mean there's a lot of Celtic and Irish folklore in there?
A very great deal, yes. The first novel actually involves the characters traveling to Tir na Nog.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Wow, I remember that from Titanic.
There you Good day, sir.
And with that, back to the show. And we're back.
Yeah.
Whew.
That was us being salesperson-y.
Yeah. You know, it's something I hate, but I'm good at.
Yeah, you know it. Well, I don't know how good I am at it, but what's important is that you need to actually believe in what it is that you're selling, and in this case, of course, we do.
Easy to do.
So
yeah.
it's easy. It makes it easier to do.
But we're not above selling what we don't believe in. So
Not too far above it.
Yeah,
No.
yeah.
No. Not so far above it that we won't lower ourselves to make a living.
Exactly.
There we go.
So looking at you, Koch brothers.
There you go.
So it may well be that Screwball movies deserve their reviews fully,
Could be.
but anything even touching on Screwball met with rejection. Now, good movies do tend to get good reviews. Bad movies tend to get bad reviews. Not always, but
Well,
very
sometimes
often.
there's a particular critic can have an animus against a particular director or a particular set of stars
Or aesthetic, or
an
yeah.
aesthetic or
Yeah.
Lord knows what. But if you look at an aggregate kind of thing, which is the whole reason that nowadays we have websites like Rotten Tomatoes, which
Right.
are designed to
Metacritic. Yeah.
which are designed to let to help take those kind of edge cases out of your calculation when you're trying to decide, is this a good movie, is this a bad movie?
Yeah. Yeah.
So
what a time to be alive. I mean, it used to be that you would pick a critic that you agreed with and just listen to him or her.
Yeah.
Or you'd pick a critic that you didn't agree with and just listen to him
and
or
listen
her.
to him and be like, okay,
Yeah.
so Gene Siskel hated this, I'm gonna like it.
Right.
And that was usually like, if
that was what it was for you?
For me, if Ebert liked it, I was probably gonna like it. If Siskel thought it was empty-headed plebeian trash, I was probably really gonna groove on it, because to me, Gene Siskel was an elitist jerk. He I know their dynamic, the two of them. His criticism of Roger Ebert was that Roger Ebert was the Pillsbury Dough critic. You pushed his button and he giggled. was what Siskel had to say about Ebert. And I just thought Siskel was kind of humorless and it has to be high art or it.
Well, if you look at who they both drank with,
Yeah.
Siskel drank with artists and
Yeah.
avant-garde theater people.
Okay.
Ebert went to the seediest, shitty bars in Chicago and would stumble out of them blind drunk at 5 a.m.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah. Well, all right. Well, I know who. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So I know my crowd. All right. There we go.
So, now, most of the reviews of Screwball comedies from 42 onward tended to focus on the boring-ass nature of the films, or their loquacity, or their lack of clarity.
Too much talking.
Yep.
Plot doesn't make any sense.
Tried too hard, didn't succeed.
Tried too hard. It's all frivolous nonsense. It's empty-headed.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
So this would tell me then that the feelings that they were expressing was showing that the quality of these films was dropping. It would also seem that the ears it fell on less than a decade earlier were now tired of the sound. Okay. The actors had also been moving into other genres, though, too. Jimmy Stewart, Fred MacMurray, Henry Fonda, Gary Cooper, all had made a splash in Screwball, were now deeply involved in war and other genres. Okay? It's kind of like Tom Hanks used to do zany comedy.
Yeah.
He doesn't now. Now he just does movies where he pees in things. Name
I
one where he's not peeing on screen.
No, I can't.
Yeah.
Polar Express.
Got it. Yeah.
There we go.
But is that really him?
That might be the
cartoon. That's an avatar.
Yeah. It might not count, but yeah. And if it does count, that might be the only one.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I guess you could say Toy Story, but I mean, his name is Woody.
Huh.
So.
All right. That was a segue.
Yeah. And at the time that they're all getting these war movies are largely a studio-driven thing, not an actor-driven commodity, right?
Okay, yeah.
So this was a larger decision than just actors choosing what project they were going to do. They weren't taking their talents where they wanted to go.
Because the studio was saying, okay, look, we're going to put you in this film.
Right.
We've decided your look, your persona, your whatever makes you the everyman.
Exactly.
The everyman hero in the case of Jimmy Stewart.
Right.
In the case of, Clark Gable, you're the romantic lead.
Mm-hmm.
Cary Grant, you're the romantic lead. Van Johnson, you're the, action hero.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
it's
Clint Eastwood, you're funny looking. Burt Reynolds, you need to lose weight. Sorry. That's
quite
later.
Right.
That's later.
Yeah.
That's a while after this. But yeah.
So also people weren't focused on laughing at male frustration, like I said.
Yeah.
You got cowboys and soldiers who are heroes, and that's what matters, right?
Yeah.
There were comedies, but romantic comedies where the women frustrated the men were gone.
Yeah.
Comedies where the class structure in the United States culture was being upended in a chaotic mess were not well received.
Huh.
It's war, man. We don't have time for change.
Yeah, no, we don't have time for being all divisive with your divisionation.
So one reason that men were that nobody wanted to laugh at men being frustrated is because they're at war, like you said earlier.
Yeah.
They resented people having such a lighthearted mood in their absence, and the rest of the country seemed to have fallen in line with that way of thinking, as shown by the article that I mentioned before.
Yeah.
Women were at home working in the factories and other places to keep the home front going and keep it going strong. They also didn't delight in seeing men frustrated, romantically or otherwise.
Yeah.
Nobody did, and that adds to the overall anxiety of the nation because you don't have that release valve about the frustration.
Good point.
Seeing heroes and tough men was certainly more encouraging to the women and the home front in general. This is why we're doing this. But if you only ever have meetings where you're reaffirming your mission statement, you're stressing your employees out.
Yes.
So when men get back to the home front, it was also because they'd been wounded or hurt somehow. Not able to continue, not because they'd finished their scheduled tour, because they didn't have a scheduled tour. It was for the duration.
Yeah.
They also weren't interested in seeing frustration.
No,
sexual
because
or
they
otherwise.
were having to deal with a whole different level of frustration themselves.
Mm-hmm. And trauma.
And, trauma, and then, we're talking about the silent generation.
Yep.
And all of them having been survivors of the Depression. And in the last episode, you talked about, the bootstrap mentality. And for a lot of them, at least on a subconscious level, the idea that they had failed would be something they'd be struggling with.
Right.
And so seeing anybody in a position to be flailing and getting frustrated by something going on would just exacerbate that.
Yeah.
So, it's not fun anymore, man.
No. So, you want to keep that fighting spirit alive? That's a good priority. Finding intrigue or levity and frustration is not.
No.
Now, once the war is winding down, there's only a very few attempts at screwball comedy even made. These attempts are met with predictably bad results. The war had either turned people against screwball comedy or the genre had just run its course. I can't tell which, but I know that either way it was over.
Little of column A, little of column B.
I'm going mostly with column A, though, because you have such an abrupt shift in the course of a year.
Okay.
I'd say column A far more. Don't get me wrong, column B exists.
But all right.
Yeah. Now, once the war ended, people are trying to get their lives back to normal.
Yeah.
Screwball comedy leaves a small void that was unsatisfied by wars and westerns, but many considered that void acceptable. It's like, okay, we don't have that anymore. Variety ran an article that stated, quote, on January 8th of 1947, It said, "We have been through a long, grueling war, and the public is more serious and less frivolous."
Huh. So here's a question.
Go for it.
You were talking about the genre of screwball comedy. How does this line up on a timeline with the death of the musical?
The musical is going to come back with Technicolor.
Mm-hmm. Because the visual spectacle.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
And that'll be in the 50s, early 50s.
Okay. Right? But that'll then die out by the 70s?
70s.
Okay.
Largely because all the stars that had done musicals were too old to convincingly do musicals.
To continue doing it.
Also, all the directors of that fanfare style stuff were pushing off, and you had the auteurs coming in. So remember, the 70s was a really artistically interesting time, but a shit time.
Yeah.
Also,
grim, unpleasant.
By this point, you also have the third generation of people in charge of the studios with different sensibilities. So there's a lot of factors.
A lot of stuff going on. All right.
Now, this shows a reluctance to deal in comedy that deals with whimsical characters, obviously, and that means Screwball doesn't have a chance. The only time that void comes back, where male frustration is centered, is television.
Oh, well, every sitcom dad, ever.
Not ever.
Well, but...
In the 50s, it was not so.
That's true. That's true. Ozzie and Harriet, that didn't happen. Leave It to Beaver.
Right. Daddy knows best.
Ward Cleaver never had to deal with any of that bullshit.
Right.
Wally did.
Yeah.
My father will point out how Wally did.
Oh.
My dad... So, my grandmother actually vacuumed in her pearls.
Oh, yeah, you told me about that.
Okay,
yeah.
The joke that my father and my uncle have is that they are, in fact, Wally and the Beef.
Okay.
That you can take an episode of Leave It to Beaver, put my uncle in the role of Beaver, my father in the role of Wally.
Oh, wow.
And you will probably capture a story from their childhood. It's worth noting that they didn't get along really at all until adulthood. And yeah, they were 4 years apart. My grandmother says that if their rooms had not been on opposite ends of their wing of the house, they'd have killed each other before either one of them got to being a teenager.
Okay.
Because at about the age where my uncle got to the point where he was an incessant tag-along, my father was at the age where he didn't want his little brother around, at all. So it was that really unfortunate kind of generational, well, not generational, but sibling timing.
Yeah.
So, yeah. But, yeah, Ward Cleaver never had to deal with any of that.
No.
But then you get into the 60s, and you start seeing it.
You really start to see it in the 70s.
Okay, well, yeah.
Yeah,
okay.
But you're right. There are hints of it. I mean, Wilbur in what do you call it? In Mr. Ed.
Mr. Ed.
He was frustrated. Skipper was frustrated.
Yeah, well, yeah.
So you have father figures being frustrated. Now, that was late 60s, I believe.
Yeah, well,
it was black and white.
Yeah, Sherwood Schwartz.
Yeah.
But what that brings up to me is, you say father figures, and yes, Skipper is definitely a father figure, but he's also kind of an inept father figure.
Yes.
Which is a trope
that
becomes a thing.
Yep.
So, how many father figures were there on that island? Because there was Skipper, there was the professor.
Not a father figure.
No?
No. He's
lantern-jawed science hero?
That's the older brother.
Okay. Oh, he was Wally.
Yep.
Okay. All right, that makes more sense now.
Yeah.
All right, cool.
So
and Mr. Hell was the wacky neighbor.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Oh my God, it all makes sense. All right.
So veterans,
in
an attempt to build a life for themselves again, as well as a family, they settle in large numbers into the suburbs.
Yes.
Well, I take it back. White WASP veterans did this.
Settled, left town.
Yeah. In fact, it was this settling that created the suburb, right?
Yeah.
And with the suburb comes television's rise.
Yes.
Once televisions are affordable enough, shows become a source of family and neighborhood entertainment. And shows like I Love Lucy, once again, celebrate the frustration of the male anti-hero.
With the zany, ditzy, smart, but kind of lunatic female figure.
She is chaos. Yeah.
Incarnate.
Yeah. Now, this time, she's also not obviously smarter than he is. Yeah. That ditzy button gets pushed hard.
Yeah, that's true.
So she was often somewhat short-sighted in her ambitions.
Yeah.
This is largely Lucy, but there's other female characters that do this.
Damn it.
Gracie.
Great. Well,
Yeah.
But okay.
And the wife on
Gracie,
shows.
Yeah, but Gracie is an earlier generation.
True.
Say goodnight, Gracie. Goodnight, Gracie. That's late vaudeville.
It is. It absolutely is.
So I mean, that shows up on television, but that's been a through line.
Yeah.
For them as a couple and as an act.
That's true.
Since an earlier era. So that's a weird kind of edge case.
Yeah.
Damn it! I'm forgetting. It was a sitcom that was centered on the female lead, and it was on Nick at Night when I was in junior high school, and the episode that I can remember of it, it's carried the actress's name as the so and so show. I can't remember her name right now.
Oh, Mary Tyler Moore?
No, earlier.
Oh.
But anyway, one of the episodes, it was the introduction. It was when credit cards were a brand new thing.
Oh, wow.
And the whole plot of the episode was she wanted a credit card.
Right.
And her husband wouldn't let her have a credit card.
And that was a plot point.
And because they didn't need one.
Right.
And so somehow there was a chimp involved. I'm saying monkey, but it's actually chimp.
Okay.
And somebody's pet chimp. And she signed up for a credit card in the chimp's name. And the wacky hijinks was that they put the name into the computer, which was the size of a refrigerator or bigger, and had all the big flashing lights on it because it was the late 50s. And it came back. Oh yeah, no, it's no negative credit report, no history on that. Yes, we'll give you. Yeah, we'll totally give him, her, it, whatever the card. And then wacky hijinks and gets herself into trouble, and then her husband has to come in and pat her on the head and rescue her.
Right.
And so again, male frustration.
Yep. But the male fixes it.
But he is the Apollonian figure who is ultimately successful in fixing everything. Yes. So order is restored exactly at the end, and she learns a valuable lesson and goes back to
forgetting it next week.
And and at the end of the episode, she's back making muffins or whatever in the kitchen.
Exactly.
Gender roles are reestablished.
Yep.
No matter whether she'd been in a factory during the war or not. Just throwing that out there.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Talking about those guys coming back from the front and wanting to rebuild their lives.
There were and they had every right to actually want a job back.
Well, yeah.
They did.
No, I'm not.
It just it's not pie. You could have actually expanded the economy.
Could have figured out a way to do
it. Good Housekeeping ran recipes all the time, and in the 1940s there were 10-minute recipes. Yeah. In the 1950s they were hours and hours long.
Oh yeah.
So just a way to keep her in the kitchen.
Lucy Homemaker is home now.
Right.
Yeah.
So
again,
Lucy, for instance, would often spend an inordinate amount of time getting out of her own trouble that she created, or ultimately needing his help to rescue her.
Yeah.
Find me the that's right. Yeah.
Or my mother's favorite. My mother's a huge Lucille Ball fan. Yeah, the conveyor belt with the chocolates.
Yep.
My mother, just talking about that episode, my mother will disintegrate.
Oh yeah. It's Lucy was fantastic.
Oh, she was a brilliant performer. Yeah.
But most of her antics are born out of boredom. So it's female frustration leading to But then it leads to frustrating him, and then he fixes
Lucy.
Right.
You've got some splaining to do.
Right, which I don't think that actually ever was said on the show.
Really?
I don't remember. Is either that one or Hey Lucy, I'm home. One of those two was never said.
Okay. Yeah. I think at some point he does say, you got some splaining to do, but Lucy, you got some splaining to do might not be. That might be where the...
It's like Luke, I am your father.
Luke, I am your father.
No,
it's like,
I am your father. Yeah.
Yeah.
So...
wow.
These shows.
The angle about female boredom had not... And again, I want to say the Doris Day show, but I know it's not Doris Day. I can't remember her
Patty.
name. No. You know what? After I get home...
Patty Duke?
maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'd have to look it up. But anyway.
Sure.
Again, it's that the whole thing with the credit card. She's bored.
Right. Well, Lucy and Ethel didn't have jobs.
No.
Nothing noticeable.
Well, they did have jobs for an episode at a time.
Right. To cure their boredom.
For hijinks, to cure their boredom. Or, within the plot of the episode, it was, I want to buy a new dress for this event. And
you got to go work for it.
Yep. Da-da-da-da. But yeah, it was essentially, I'm stuck in the house, I'm cooped up, I'm bored out of my mind.
Yeah, well, and a woman at work was taboo.
Yeah.
And not wanting to accept the place in society for her is what causes that frustration for him.
And is viewed as Dionysian because she's out of her place.
Right. Now this everyone could laugh at.
Okay.
And it was innocuous enough in presentation that it didn't threaten the social order because, like you said, it keeps coming back.
Yeah.
So, yes, it is screwball comedy, but
sort
not.
Of.
Yeah.
Well,
it doesn't have the payoff that Screwball. It uses the same mechanic, but it doesn't have the payoff.
Yeah, well, it doesn't have the same level of unresolved sexual tension.
Right.
Because Lucy and Ricky slept in separate beds.
Exactly.
It's canonical. We know this to be fact.
Yep.
At least on TV.
Yeah. Well, and some of that, I think, partly Hays Code stuff.
That was Hays Code
but
stuff.
Also, it's just easier to block a scene when you've got a middle shot camera.
That's true.
There's
good point. There's mechanical reasons for it, yeah.
But still, yeah. Which explains why the first couple to have the same bed was a cartoon couple. Flintstones.
You're right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So,
all right.
During the Great Depression, Screwball plays a very significant role of levity. It allows people to enjoy themselves for very little money, let someone else bear the burden of your frustrations for a few hours at a time.
It's a pressure valve.
Yes. Leave your worries at the ticket counter. They'll be there when you pick them up. You can empathize with the poor sap who couldn't find his brontosaurus bone.
Yeah.
That's the plot of Bringing Up Baby, basically. Had the Depression continued without military conflict, Screwball Comedy might have enjoyed a much longer run than 8 years.
Yeah.
But it didn't. World War II's global effects and global conflicts drew almost everyone in on one level or another. People's interest shifted away from laughing at some poor fool, and it became important to support the men who went to war in mind and spirit as well as their body.
Okay.
It was not enough to collect scrap or work in the war industry. People had to do their part for the war effort as much as possible.
Psychically.
Yes. Movies that took away from this focus quickly fall out of vogue, and movies that display the elements of the American fighting spirit, from war movies to romances to adventure movies, those are acceptable to watch.
Okay.
Frivolity is unacceptable when so many of America's men are fighting in Europe and Asia. The nation was serious. Screwball Comedy is a casualty of these sentiments. Okay?
Yeah.
It produced frivolity when the nation was inwardly anxious during the Depression. Cool. Screwball Comedy allows an escape into a fantasy world. That's cool. Acceptable during the Depression. But there's not anyone dying because of a lack of national cohesion of unity or purpose at that point.
Okay.
They're dying from other reasons. But during World War II, Screwball Comedies find very little purchase with the people. It's still trying to get them to escape into a fantasy world, and the people weren't interested in escaping into a fantasy world because their minds are already overseas. We don't have time for fantasies.
Yeah, we don't have time for that.
Yeah.
Too much other stuff going on.
They perceived that the unity of purpose in thought, word, and deed was what their sons, their brothers, their husbands, their boyfriends, their cousins, their dads, everyone needed.
The men of military age in their lives.
Yeah. That's what they needed to return home safely. So in some ways, the unity of purpose lets them feel the same relief that they felt that Screwball Comedy did during the Depression. Because in the Depression, you're on your own. You should bootstrap yourself. During the war, we're all in this together.
Okay.
Communism.
Collectivism.
Yeah.
You can say collectivism.
Collectivism. Screwball Comedy had ceased to serve the unifying role of giving people something to laugh at because the person they had been laughing at was a wholesome, if somewhat dull-witted American male. During the war, most of your wholesome American men are risking their lives and laughing at someone who could be dying at that same moment.
Kind of makes you a dick.
Yeah. So they needed to cheer him on instead.
Okay.
As Screwball's leaving, war movies and westerns were leaping onto the scene. Like I said, they offered skilled and tough, smart American heroes.
The competent man.
Yes, these heroes assuaged American anxiety. By the way, that same competent man would grow up to be the incompetent father in the 70s.
Yes.
Because his teenagers just don't make any sense, and he fought in the war.
Yeah.
And why don't they? That's Carol O'Connor.
Why don't they get it? What you're speaking? What language are you even talking?
Right.
The world has moved on. I don't get it anymore.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
he's become incompetent through no fault of his own.
There's a great line in Inherit the Wind. Perhaps it is you who have moved by standing still.
Nice.
I liked it. So it's not a frustrated egghead fighting in the Ardennes or in Okinawa. It's a rough and tumble American who can handle himself. And this gives America comfort because Screwball Comedy's previous role was filled, and it didn't fill the other one. So this unity of purpose took care of the need to assuage the anxiety. And it's not filling the need to keep on going. Mm-hmm. So it had to wait until television gives it a medium to move to. So it died on the big screen, but slightly transformed. And it ends very differently.
Kind of watered down.
Very watered down, because it's not about sex. It's not about her sexual agency. And if it is about her sexual agency in any way, shape, or form, it
gets quashed by the end of the episode.
Exactly, and everything's back to normal.
She gets reharnessed into the domestic sphere.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But it ekes out a living on the small screen. So these elements of frustration are there. It's elements of frustration that dealing with the new or trying to keep order, but you ultimately have order at the end. Now, there have been several attempts in specific movies to use screwball concepts, but none of them have been attempts at reviving the genre. In 1972, Barbra Streisand used screwball antics in What's Up, Doc?
Okay.
Now, she wasn't trying to revive the genre, so it was much more just an attempt to try to redo Bringing Up Baby.
Okay.
20 years later, 1992, Goldie Hawn frustrates Steve Martin to no end in House Sitter.
Yeah.
Bordering on psychotic.
Yeah.
Her character readjusts his life for him. She's not just a manic pixie dream girl. She's a
psychotic pixie dream girl, yeah.
But in the end, all is well.
Yeah.
He sings Tooraloo, his father, in front of his boss, and everyone thinks it's great, and he and Han live screwily ever after.
Yeah.
And I mean that in both terms, because in the 90s, you could fuck.
Yeah, you could, do that.
And Martin's frustration is painfully evident, and quite frankly, I think that's like his genre, is being the frustrated man.
Yeah.
Like, if you look at everything that he didn't write, he's typecast.
Yeah. L.A. Story.
Parenthood.
Yeah.
Planes, Trains, and Automobiles.
Oh, great.
Anything with Queen Latifah.
Yeah, well, yeah. Anytime he winds up playing the part of a straight man.
Yep.
A central part of his role as the straight man is a frustrated straight man.
Yes. Well, that's what straight men are for. Often.
Not necessarily always.
You're right.
Yeah. But I think you're right. Mm-hmm. I can see that argument. I keep coming back to the wonderful way in L.A. Story that he's in love with the age appropriate woman, but because she's with somebody else, he's dating
Sarah Jessica Parker,
who is not age appropriate.
21
or something. And the way he interacts with her is this wonderful, consistently baffled.
Yep.
Like, okay, I'm rolling with it. But
yes.
Like, huh?
Yeah.
Well,
and he does that throughout the whole point of LA Story is he's just buying into everything.
Yeah, like everything. But
I'll have a half calf double decaffeinated with a twist 11.
Oh, add a twist. Yeah, everybody at the table. Yeah. Oh. And one of my father's favorite movies, by the way.
Wow.
But go ahead.
I was going to say, House Sitter was panned.
Oh, yes.
The viewer is typically just more uncomfortable than anything else through the whole thing. Most reviewers thought that Frank Oz did a horrible job directing the film.
Okay.
Called it a would-be screwball comedy and more grating than amusing.
Here's the thing.
Yeah.
There's a lot of what
That
goes
was John
on.
Carpenter. Different type, different genre.
Nice.
Yeah.
There's a lot of cringe involved. Mm-hmm. And that's a whole subgenre in and of itself.
Yeah.
Of we're going to put somebody through really uncomfortable stuff.
I think that's Ben Stiller. I think he is the best exemplar of that.
Yeah.
I don't think that it's about cringing with Steve Martin.
Okay.
I think it bled into cringing.
Well, that's kind of what I'm saying. I mean, the way those situations in that movie wound up turning out.
Yeah.
It wound up being that, which is part of the reason it didn't work, is because that's not Martin's thing.
Right.
And frankly, I don't like Ben Stiller movies primarily because they are so intensely focused on watch this guy grimace his way through this.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like, I don't want to watch that. That's painful.
Yeah.
No, I feel sadistic. Like, you want me to be laughing at his discomfiture, and that makes me feel bad.
That's a good point.
You know, and I think when the intent of the plot is to be screwball, and the delivery winds up going into cringe comedy, you're automatically going to suck because you're missing the point. You're whiffing. You're swinging hard for the fences.
Well, and let's keep in mind,
you're working real hard, trying, and you're failing.
Yeah.
On a central
generic
part of
point. Yeah. Well, and I would point out, though, that it's the reviewers that are assuming that Oz was out to make a screwball comedy. He never said that he was. Now, he might have been. I mean, it has all the elements. All the elements.
Yeah.
But I would ask, would any director have been successful with any actors in any capacity in making a screwball work at that time? Society is so different in 92 than it was from 34 to 42 that it would be impossible to touch the same chords that resonated so well back then.
Well, especially if a central part of your thesis is the idea that the idea of a woman's sexual agency is inherently Dionysian and chaotic, and like, you know, this is automatically going to be tripping this guy off because you know, she knows what she wants and she's going after it, and that's like crazy talk.
Yeah,
that we'd had the sexual revolution. We hadn't. There had been.
Yes.
You know, the generation who came up after Screwball Comedy had died. Yeah. Had the sexual revolution, at which point that aspect of the formula for Screwball was kind of pointless.
Yeah, I mean, most of the people alive in 92 weren't working adults starting in 34.
No.
You know, those few who were working in 34 and still alive in 92 were not the same concerns.
No.
By 92. Movies change with the times.
Yeah.
So today's screwball comedy wouldn't be as well received using people's concerns as a barometer.
And I just figured out, I think, I'm going to posit that the difference between screwball comedy or the heroine in a screwball comedy and a manic pixie dream girl is that the cultural context in which they are operating is one in which the first heroine is coming from a patriarchal set of circumstances in which the very fact that she knows what she wants and she's going after it is a source of comedy.
Yes.
Whereas a manic pixie absurdity. Yeah. Whereas a manic pixie dream girl, that's an essential part of the character, but that's not part of what makes her a figure of chaos.
Yeah, it's she's got a lot more latitude.
Yeah.
Yeah. I would agree. I also point out that the screwball comedies that worked better came a little later. And there's also a sexual dynamic, absolutely, but there's also a racial dynamic. Steve Martin and Queen Latifah.
Good point. So. There's some level of transgressive something going on. Okay.
Yeah. So,
all right.
Screwball was a genre that died because of World War II.
Yeah.
I mean,
You've pretty much put the nail in the coffin of
now
that.
The question is,
that argument, I think, is You've settled that pretty clearly.
Now, my question is, should we expect it to come back? I mean, Westerns had to come back in the mid-'90s. Dances with Wolves, Tombstone, Wyatt Earp, Bad Girls, Unforgiven, Shanghai Noon even.
Yeah.
They were not the same Westerns as the Westerns of the 60s and 50s and the 40s.
The themes were remarkably different. Yeah. Many of them were deconstructions or trope inversions.
Some were just nominally Westerns. They didn't have a Western feel to them. Like The Quick and the Dead didn't feel like a Western. But if it had come about 30 years earlier, it absolutely. I mean, it's a tournament-style shoot-'em-up. Fuck yeah, it's spaghetti Western.
Well, you know what? It feels more like a martial arts film.
Yeah, it does.
Feels like a kung fu movie with six guns.
Nominally a Western.
Yeah, nominally a Western.
And the plots move along a different path.
Yeah,
like I said, the characters develop to different depths. And the same thing is true with screwball movies of the early 2000s.
I think my own gut feeling on this is I think in order for the genre to come back in a meaningful way, we would have to see the genre somehow significantly adapt, or we would have to see some kind of very significant shift in our own perceptions of gender roles.
I would agree.
I think the central, again, because we're talking about the very idea of the absurdity of the chaos character in a screwball comedy being tied to gender in the way that it is, in order for that to become meaningful again, either some part of that formula has to change, and it's going to be a significant evolution mutation of the base critter, or our attitudes about those things are going to have to shift back in a fundamental way.
Yeah, and I don't see that happening.
And I don't think that particular genie has escaped the bottle.
Yes.
And our attitudes about gender roles can certainly change dramatically. But we're moving. I mean, right now, even with the kind of retrograde leadership that we have politically, trying to do everything they can to jam every genie back into the bottle that they possibly can.
Right.
We're still seeing in our culture at large not only more people paying attention to women's concerns and listening to what women have to say, but the very idea of gender as being, this is what a man is, this is what a woman is, this is what masculine means, this is what feminine means. I mean,
it's no longer a source of comedy.
Well, yeah, it's no longer a source of comedy, and anybody who tries to play at, that's a woman thing, ha ha ha, or that guy, he's such a guy about that, is going to have a lot of people just arching their eyebrows like, that's kind of toxic masculinity, dude.
Yeah, well, and that's really uncreative and not funny.
That's really boring.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, there's just the fact that the majority of people in society are now becoming aware of the fact that gender roles are a construct. I mean, the majority of people who are coming to understand that wouldn't phrase it that way, because that's kind of, pointy-headed woke talk.
Right.
But but the idea that, no, man, you can be a dude and dress how you want to dress. You can be a woman and be an auto mechanic or an astronaut or whatever, and that's not, and the original genre is so bound up.
It is.
And this is the man and this is the woman.
Yeah.
That it almost sounds kind of Paleolithic.
Well, and the one place where that can still exist is the one place that it got pushed to by World War II. World War II ends it on this big screen, but World War II also brought us the GI Bill and the growth of the suburbs and the growth of the nuclear family as the model and the growth of television. And it got pushed onto television in a major way. Now, it morphed and modified, but ultimately, look at even your ensemble cast sitcoms. Big Bang Theory.
Yeah. Oh.
Wow. Friends.
Yeah.
I keep picking on Friends.
Well,
Frasier.
because you're doing your long-term study.
Yeah. Oh, the notes I've got on that. Frasier. There's so much. Cheers was an inversion of it. I mean, and you see a lot of that. You see inversions of it, but you also see...
you see inversions of it. You see deconstructions of it. You see, the
responses to it.
The underlying trope is there's a kernel of something there that speaks to people. When you have the uptight, cut the butter square, engineer type, and you have the Dionysian figure. I mean, that's a universal pair of characters to bounce off of each other.
Yes.
Like Sesame Street, Bert and Ernie.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because Ernie is like so uptight that he craps diamonds.
Yeah.
And Bert is, as a matter of fact, an avatar of chaos.
Yeah.
It
Super
might
ego
just
head,
it might be the case that right now we're showing Sesame Street episodes to my son in the afternoon.
Nice.
Which might be why I'm coming up with that example.
Oh, that's a great
I'm
one.
I'm not saying that's why, but I'm saying it might be. It totally is. But
so we have some sitcoms where you see the elements still there.
Yeah.
You change who's doing what.
Yeah.
But these shows, in large part, have kind of given way to quote-unquote unscripted reality television, which we roll our eyes at, but that's what Candid Camera was.
True.
And game shows also made a brief comeback.
Yeah.
Who Wants to Be a Millionaire.
Yeah.
Hidden camera type shows, like I just said.
Yeah.
Screwball Comedy might find that it doesn't fit anywhere in America's media, despite everything else getting a second and third look. And it only exists as a small thread in the tapestry of whatever's coming new.
Yeah.
It might be one of the few art forms that will stay dead.
Yeah. Well, or stay off of the main stage.
Yeah.
I think what you say about a thread in the tapestry is a good analogy. I think the elements of that story, again, because they can be inserted anywhere.
Sure.
That automatically makes for a great entertaining B plot.
Yeah.
When you bounce those characters off of each other. When you have any kind of a sitcom.
Yeah.
Oh, The New Girl.
Haven't seen it.
Oh, okay. It is, as a matter of fact, I would argue it just about manages to recapture Screwball.
Okay.
And I can't remember the actress's name, but she is a Manic Pixie Dream Girl. And the series is kind of an analysis deconstruction of that trope. Because she shows up and she's this agent of chaos, and like, oh my God, what's going on? And then you learn something about her and you realize, no, she's this way because she's actually kind of broken in some meaningful ways. And so there's more nuance to it. And
right.
They play with it and they do stuff with it. But no, she is totally I'm the agent of chaos, and like all these other guys are these dorky nerds who really need to get out and break out of their shells.
Nice.
And it's
Yeah.
So I think you're right.
Yeah. Cool. Well, I think we just talked about what we've learned from this. So,
pretty much.
If people want to get a hold of you on the Twitter and argue with you, where should they go?
E.H. Blaylock at Twitter.com. Where should they go if they want to tell you that you are completely wrong about everything you've just said over the course of the last 2 hours?
Straight to hell.
Okay.
But if they want to tell me how wonderful this was,
okay.
Harmony, there's 2 H's in there.
Okay.
On the Twitter.
And then to get a hold of both of us simultaneously.
And to suggest topics.
Yeah, because we're getting to a place where we got to think harder about this. So any bit of help you can provide, if you have an idea you want us to look into, send it to us at Geek History Time on Twitter, and we will take a look at it. We'll be a little bit surprised anybody has messaged us on Twitter, because we will be pleasantly surprised. But send that to us there, and.
The first 2 people to do it, I promise you will get into heaven.
Wait.
What?
No.
All right. I'm Damian Harmony.
And I'm Ed Blaylock, the Catholic in the room. And until next time, keep rolling 20s.